I'll call this Town Council meeting to order at 7 p.m., February 3rd, 2026. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, we acknowledge the town of Edson is located on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral lands of the Nahiawak, Saulteaux, Siksika, Piikani, Kainai, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and the Otipemisiwak Métis Nations. We honor the knowledge of this land, the elders and youth which gather here, and our ancestors who have gathered here for centuries. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting? Pardon me. Here we go. Councillor Wilson-Lear.
I move that the agenda for the February 3rd, 2026 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Pardon me, I messed up on the first time on the microphone. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried unanimously. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the January 20th, 2026 meeting of council? Hang on one sec. Councillor Holden, can you ring it again? Because I am struggling. Why is this? He is live. He's good.
I motion that the minutes of the January 20th, 2026 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried unanimously. We have no, we'll move on to the public hearing. So I will call the public hearing open at 7:02. I want to welcome all the members of the public here tonight. I'll just go through the process for a few minutes here so everybody understands, and I'll review it as needed as we go through. The public hearing is to provide an opportunity for the public to present their comments to council. This public hearing is for bylaw number 2329. Purpose of the bylaw is to amend Schedule B of Land Use Bylaw number 2296 as it applies to Lot 31 to 37, Block 6, Plan 1494 AC, redistricting the C2 Service Commercial District to the DCO Direct Control Open District. Again, I wanted to welcome all the members of the public, both in council chambers and in the lobby this evening. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. If you could please silence your cell phones. Exits for those in council chambers are to my right here through the lobby. There are washrooms located in the lobby as well. Please remember that the main objective is to listen. There will be no debate over the merits of the proposal or debate over the points of view expressed by the speakers. Everyone will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard. Public speakers may participate in person or virtually. We have 5 pre-registered in person, although there'll be opportunities for others, and we have 1 pre-registered to speak virtually. The speaking order will be a staff presentation first, then a presentation by the applicant. They will be given a 15-minute time limit. Public presentations from anyone wishing to speak for or against the bylaw, and then following that will be clarifying questions from Town Council. Please remember to direct all comments through the chair. And I'll start by introducing the council and the members of the town employees we have, the members of administration we have here as well. My name is Pat Fogarty. I am the Deputy Mayor. We have Councillor Sean Holden, Councillor Al Schramm, Councillor Peter Taylor, Councillor Corey Wilson-Lear. We have Denise McDonald, who is our acting CAO. We have Donna Cross, acting GM of Infrastructure and Operations. Julia Darling is our Development Officer. And virtually is Kyle Miller, Project Planner of Scheffler Andrew Limited. He's our consultant. Again, administration is going to provide a brief introduction to the bylaw. Council can then ask questions, and then I'll review the order of events for presentations after that. So if we could please start with administration, if they could present the overview of the bylaw, please.
Good evening, Council. I will be presenting Administration's report on the application received and proposed bylaw 2329 to redistrict lots 31 to 37, Block 6, Plan 1494AC from the C2 Service Commercial District to the DCO Direct Control Open District. Oh, great, now it's gonna, sorry. The subject parcel is currently in the C2 Service Commercial District, and the purpose of the C2 district is to provide for moderate to large-scale development consisting of a mix of commercial uses that serve the community. The development permit approval for a group care facility was issued under Land Use Bylaw 2070, February 2024. The approval was appealed to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board, who upheld the approval and added additional conditions that the applicant had to meet. My briefing note outlines the full set of conditions required to be met. That's in your council package. To date, Reflections has complied with and continues to meet all of those conditions. Under the new Land Use Bylaw 2296, group care facility is not a listed use and has been replaced by the category supportive housing. As supportive housing is not included as a use within the C2 land use district, a bylaw amendment is necessary before a development permit application for expanded services at the subject property can be evaluated. The existing use is considered to be legal non-conforming under the Municipal Government Act and cannot be expanded on or added to. As a result, in order to facilitate any continued development, administration is recommending that the subject site be redistricted to a direct control open district to allow council to have direct oversight over this parcel. This is a context map showing the location of the subject parcel on First Avenue, east of 50th Street. It's outlined in green. It's pretty small on that map, but it is outlined. This map outlines the direct control open parcels within the town of Edson. There are 60 parcels, 32 of which are the lots located south of Vision Park on Gomokha Drive and 8th Avenue. The remaining 28 that you see throughout the rest of town are live-work uses that were identified in the land use bylaw rewrite. So those are those ones outlined in red. The purpose of the DCO district is to enable council to exercise control over the use and development of land or buildings in a manner they consider necessary. The district provides for developments that, due to their unique characteristics, innovative design, or unique site constraints, require specific regulation unavailable in other land use districts. The purpose of the proposed redistricting application is to shift the decision-making authority to council, enabling council to have direct oversight of any future development permit application related to the expansion of service at the existing approved group care facility located at 4920 First Avenue. This is section 11.19 from Land Use Bylaw 2296. The provisions of this section are intended for council to exercise control over certain lands within the town of Edson. The map on the left shows the land use districts of the subject parcel and surrounding parcels. The map on the right outlines the subject parcel and how it is proposed to be redistricted under the proposed bylaw 2329. This map forms a part of the proposed bylaw 2329 as Schedule A. This is map 3, existing land uses from the municipal development plan. The subject parcel is outlined, and as you can see, is within the red area labeled commercial industrial. This is map 6, future land use concept from the municipal development plan. The subject parcel is outlined, and as you can see, it is within area number 1, outlined as Future Area Redevelopment Plan, or Future Central Commercial ARP, which is just Area Redevelopment Plan. As part of the process for redistricting, a referral package was sent out to both internal and external agencies. No concerns were received during that process. However, 3 letters were submitted and are included in your agenda package. A public hearing notice was prepared and published in the Weekly Anchor in the January 19th and January 26th publications, and on the town's website on January 7th. Written notice was sent out to the surrounding landowners within 50 meters on January 9th. Any responses to those landowner notifications were submitted to Legislative Services. In summary, the proposed redistricting, if approved, would allow for the applicant, Reflections, to apply for a development permit in the future to expand services they offer within their facility to ensure that they qualify for provincial funding. Administration's recommendation is that once the public hearing is concluded, based on what council hears, Bylaw 2329 is brought to a future council meeting for council to hear second and third reading of Bylaw 2329. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you, council. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much for your...
Questions are after.
No, we can ask you questions right now. Thank you so much for your presentation. Council, anyone have any questions? Seeing no questions from council, thank you so much. So next, the applicant has an opportunity to present. They will be given a 15-minute time limit. Can I have the representative from Reflections to please come forward? And if you could please state your name and your role in Reflections and begin your presentation. Thank you.
I lost the draw, so I'm up here. But I am extremely proud to be here representing our board, our workers, our staff, and also our clients. So my name is Anne Oriot. I'm in another hat as I manage the recycling depot in Edson. I was born and raised in Edson. I've been here 64 3/4 years. So for Reflections, we have been in this community since 2002. So go. Oh, right. I got to turn that on. Hopefully you heard the first part. But anyway, back in September of 2024, so only 18 months ago, we started a journey. And it was a journey that we really were very passionate about. We wanted to create a safe, caring environment for our clients who are both mental health clients and also people that experience homelessness. Lots have been homegrown in this community and have lived here their life. So we wanted it safe, caring, and welcoming to them, but also extremely safe and sustainable within this community and add to our community and make sure that everyone that enters there is safe and everyone around in our lot are safe. So that was our vision. So to start this vision off, we ended up having, first of all, I want to say that since we opened last September, we have had the MP, the MLA, the councillors of town and county, the AMIN, the Rotary Club, the RCMP staff came for a tour. We've had the Lions Club, the Chamber of Commerce, FASD group, the Chamber of Commerce, I think I mentioned, and individual businesses come through and have a tour to see what our building is made of. We've also had over 200 people at our grand opening that came for tours. We had over 275 that came through a Christmas open house supper at our building. There's a common thread for everyone that came through that building. Number one, they are extremely proud and pleased that our community has a building of such caliber and meeting such excellent design standards and building standards to be in our community in a rural Alberta setting. Not many locations have a building such of this quality and that serves the people that we do. The other second thread is that I've heard from many people, this is the best location for this kind of facility. It is outside of the common business alley. It is away from schools. It is one of the best locations that they have seen, and that was all the people that came for a tour. This wasn't an easy task, I'll tell you that right now. But what we did, and we made some really good decisions that was based on some very good recommendations. We created a team. We created a very strong working team that worked on this. Part of it was an architect who dealt with these kind of buildings and was a community involved person who wanted to make this a safe and beautiful place for people to come to. We had him along with 5 different engineers, and I don't know engineering. All I know is there was a structural, a civil, a electrical, and 2 others that they all came together to create the plan that would make this a sustainable building that was safe for everyone. So along with that came a team from local businesses in Edson that helped us along, whether that's Emerald Concrete, KSM Construction, Current Electric, Mike Morrell Plumbing, Reed's Heating, George Wadey Carpenter. There was others involved. And what bound us together was a vision that we wanted to create something that made our community proud and served our community. Along the way, we had to meet so many hurdles, so many left curves, bumps along the road, but our vision was so strong that we made it through those. We've had so many inspections because of that higher use. We've had building inspectors. We've had each of those engineers having to sign off on the plan and making sure that what we built met those plans. And if you want to know how strenuous that was, our toilet that we put in there, they came and inspected it, and it was 2 inches too close to the wall because it didn't meet the universal access. So, I mean, we had to take that toilet out, redo the floor to put it in. One of the sprinklers out of 100 was 1 centimeter off. So this is to the level of detail that the fire inspectors, the engineers, the building code people, you name it. I've never seen so many inspections. But we passed every one, met or exceeded them. What I do want to say besides that, and I'm just about finished, is that if you close your eyes and envision your community, and I remember driving by that location every single day for the last 20 years. And the last 10, I've seen for sale signs, I've seen grass growing all over, I've seen garbage, I've seen everything on that lot. When I drive by there now, what I see is dirt being placed, being maneuvered, that we see grass being planted, we see it lawn mowed, we see it watered, we see it whippersnipped. We've never had anyone from the town come and complain about a weed inspection or an unsightliness. Because you know who takes care of that? Is the clients. They go out there and they whippersniff and they clean it because they're proud of that location. There isn't a speck of garbage, and if not, if it's picked up within a week. They even go out and sweep the parking lot to make sure it's clean, or the sidewalk. The winter time, the snow is gone. There is ice melt on it. One day last week, I slipped getting into my car. Do you know 2 of them ran out to put sand and make sure that I was okay? So they have a respect for that. There's Christmas lights. Hasn't been in 10 years. If you went inside, you saw 20 Christmas trees all decorated and beautifully done. They keep it clean. They take care of the recycling. There's dual stream recycling outside. There's garbage. There is garbage cans. There is a bike stand. There is now a dog house thanks to the men's shed. There's a sense of pride. And I would rather see that than seeing what was there or in that whole street. They brought up the game, and so it should be very proud to say that that is in our location. The last part is that our door is open all the time. And all you need to do, if you have a question or what we're doing or a concern, we're open to new ideas. You can give me a call, I'm at the depot all the time, or Michelle, and come and have a tour and feel welcome. Because one of the things is when you walk in there, that there's plants, there's lighting, there's Christmas decorations, there's something out all the time for people to eat or to drink and water, and it's supervised, all the bathrooms. It is a really safe, nice, welcoming place, and we should be proud, and we are, of our location and of our program. That's it.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Do we have any clarifying questions or comments from council? Yes. Councillor Wilson-Lair.
Through the Deputy Mayor to Administration and Staff Sergeant Delisle. Ms. Wyatt, thank you for your presentation.
Thanks.
You did mention in your presentation that most people or lots of people, I'm not exactly sure of your verbiage, so I don't want to quote, but you said are homegrown in this community. So I'm asking a question in relation to the numbers and maybe what your data-driven scoring has shown you over the last year, I guess, since 2024, within the 18 months, just in terms of if you're seeing influx or if it's generally the same files.
Yes, thank you, Councillor. So I've been in the community since 2020. I've worked with Anne on the pods, trying to find a plan, a solution to this new phenomenon that is affecting pretty much every community, is this homelessness. And in terms of clientele, from what I've seen, from what is being reported to me, I don't have numbers, but it is usually the same people-ish and roughly the same amount. We might see, and there would be other people, actually, Anne could probably correct me, or Wayfinding could probably correct me, but we probably see a couple of new faces per year, maybe, that come, all of a sudden they show up and then they disappear. So there's not an influx of new client, if I can put it this way, that policing-wise we see. It's usually the same people that we are dealing with. Some get better, some sometimes move and go back to their family, and sometimes they relapse and whatnot, but overall, the same.
There isn't a busload of people coming into this community to find our services.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments from council? Seeing none, we'll move on to the public speakers now. Just a reminder, you can come forward and speak in favor or in opposition to the bylaw. You'll have a 5-minute time limit, which can be extended or limited at the discretion of the chair, myself. Council, again, can ask clarifying questions. Virtual participant that we have scheduled will be voice only. When you come forward, please remember to clearly start by stating your name, your address. I believe as long as you let us know whether you're from Edson or the county or from somewhere else, I believe that's all we need. And whether you're speaking on behalf of yourself or on behalf of someone else. And also, I will just, I'll say this again later, please provide written submissions prior to the close of the hearing if you would like to have them form part of the public record. Minutes are recorded without note or comment. So with that, we'll start with the public speakers who pre-registered. I see Mr. Wayne Waschuk is first and second on my list. So, Mr. Waschuk, please come forward. I see you're going to speak on behalf of yourself and then on behalf of someone else. So I will turn it over to you.
That's on. Deputy Mayor and members of council, before I begin, I'd like to respectfully request an additional 5 minutes of speaking time. The proposed zoning affects multiple residents and properties, and extra time would allow me to present scope of the impacts and the proactivity, address questions that are likely to arise, which will help reduce repeated questions and keep the meeting more efficient.
Just one question for clarification. Will this extra 5 minutes will be for both speaking on behalf of yourself and Legacy Petroleum?
I'm just actually gonna speak, it's gonna be 10 minutes.
For both?
myself.
For yourself?
Yeah.
And then you need additional time as well?
Well,
Because you are registered to speak on behalf of yourself and on behalf of someone
okay.
else.
No, I'm not gonna speak for Legacy. I'm just gonna
Okay.
speak for myself. They were able to come, so that's fine.
Oh, okay. So,
Okay. So
okay,
I
so
just
you're going to
asked-
speak on behalf of yourself, but you would like an extra 5
5
minutes?
minutes, might be 4 minutes.
Might be 4 minutes?
Yeah.
All right, I'll allow the extra 4 minutes
Thank you
if we
very
can.
much.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mayor and members of the council, my name is Wayne Waschuk, and my wife Yvette and I own 5 properties next to the proposed rezoning location. Thank you for the opportunity tonight to speak on the bylaw number 2329 and the proposed redistricting of 4920 First Avenue. My purpose today is not to reject responsible planning or dismiss the complex issue of housing insecurity. However, our group of residents and local business owners firmly believe that this particular redistricting application raises significant concerns for the community that have not been fully addressed. These concerns relate to community safety, economic viability of local businesses, and responsible land use in our downtown core. First, about the community safety. Edson residents and business owners have reported ongoing issues with loitering, encampments, and disruptive behavior in commercial areas. Concerns that are serious enough that the town implemented the agent program, specifically to support businesses dealing with these issues. We are not alone in wanting to address public safety. Elected representatives and enforcement staff have acknowledged these challenges by implementing this program. When land use decisions are being made, residents expect that potential impacts on safety and the character of the downtown will be considered carefully and transparently. Second, the economic well-being of local businesses. Our downtown and commercial districts are already struggling. Many once thriving local businesses have closed, leaving vacant buildings and storefronts that are challenging to fill with new investment. Edson's Economic Development Department works hard to attract new businesses and professionals, yet vacant properties and perceptions about safety directly affect investor confidence and customer traffic. A land use change that could further concentrate residential support services in commercial core risks intensifying these challenges, especially if there is no clear planning rationale that aligns with the town's broader economic and planning goals. Third, responsible use of available space. There are large vacant, provincially owned buildings in Edson that currently serve no active purpose. These buildings represent an opportunity for adaptive reuse that supports community needs without placing high-impact adaptive uses in the center of town, where residents, vulnerable populations, and businesses all intersect. Redirecting certain housing or support services to spaces that are already underutilized and away from the downtown core could mitigate potential negative impacts while still providing individuals who lack stable housing. We understand that the land use bylaw review process exists to guide long-term growth, and we respect the role that thoughtful land use decisions play in the community well-being. However, in this instance, we urge council to pause and reconsider approval of bylaw 2329. Doing so, council would show leadership that balances compassion and economic reality, a commitment to make Edson safe, welcoming, and prosperous community for all. I strongly oppose redistricting lot 3137, block 6, plan 1494AC, 49 21st Avenue, from C2 Service Commercial District to DCO Direct Control Open District. Bylaw number 2329 proposes to change zoning from service commercial to direct control open district. No specific end use is identified in the bylaw. Council is being asked to approve flexibility, not a defined plan. Council is being asked to approve a significant land use change without knowing exactly what will be built or operated. Direct control zoning gives broad discretion to council. Direct control districts do not list permitted or discretionary uses in advance. Uses are decided later at council's discretion. This removes the predictability that standard zoning districts provide. Residents and businesses lose clarity and certainty about future land use and in a sensitive central area. Direct control gives council full control in which no appeals can be made. The site is in the downtown commercial core. It is proximate to local businesses, financial institutions, and pedestrian traffic. Downtown is already economically struggling. High impact or undefined uses in a downtown core carry outsized economic and reputational risk. The town has acknowledged these challenges. The town has implemented the enforcement support programs such as Agent. So this demonstrates the awareness of loitering concerns, business disruption, enforcement capacity limits. Approving zoning changes that could intensify pressure on the downtown contradicts existing mitigation efforts. Public awareness appears limited, I should say. Many residents and business owners report learning about the bylaw via word of mouth, social media, and very late in the process. Awareness does not appear to be proportional to the potential impact. This undermines the effectiveness of a public hearing and justifies a pause. There's no clear articulation of intended or excluded uses. What will not be allowed under direct control? What uses is council trying to enable that C2 does not already allow? Why is direct control necessary instead of defined district? Lack of distinct, detailed, and precise information is concerning, to say the least. No public impact analysis. To the public knowledge, there is no business impact assessment, no downtown vitality analysis, no enforcement or safety capacity review. Decisions are being made without documented impact evaluation. No explanation on site selection. Why this property? Why downtown? Why not existing vacant buildings in less sensitive areas? There is no rationale for why this is the right location. No clarity on funding influence. Is there provincial or external funding associated? Are there timelines attached? Would delay jeopardize funding? If so, this gives the perception of urgency without the transparency. no demonstrated alignment with economic development goals. How does this rezoning support business retention, investment attraction, downtown revitalization? Economic trade-offs are not addressed. Councillor Taylor, I recall a video of a town council hearing from July 2020 in which you expressed concern over the proposed rezoning of the trailer park development on 63rd Avenue, noting that it could affect the value of the residential property you worked hard to purchase. You referenced the Municipal Government Act that states a proposed development would not materially interfere with or affect the use, enjoyment, or value of neighboring parcels of land. Thank you for your advocacy. The zoning was denied and in consideration of residents' concerns. Now, as I sit on the other side of the table, I respectfully ask that you extend the same consideration to my wife Yvette and I. We have invested our life savings into commercial properties in this area that we plan to rely on for retirement. Yet we now face the burden of property taxes with no viable path to adjust or adapt. As a matter of fact, we've been asked by a tenant to cancel a lease due to employees' safety, as she had interactions with Reflections clients and is afraid for her safety. We ask that you put yourself in our position and consider the impact this decision will have not only on our livelihood, but also on local businesses, the well-being of our community, and the confidence in potential investors in Edson. Your fairness and understanding in this matter would mean a great deal. We also believe that most of you agree building a community that is the best place to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Do we have any questions or comments from members of council? Seeing none, thank you so much. I'll move on. Next on our list is Jackie Robinson, speaking on behalf of herself. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Jackie Robinson, and I have owned a house in Edson on 6th Avenue for over 25 years. So I just want to read a statement that I prepared and sent in to the mayor and council. I am writing to wholeheartedly oppose the redistricting of Lot 31 to 37, Block 6, Plan 1494AC, 4920 First Avenue, from the C2 Service Commercial District to the DCO Direct Control Open District. In the 25 plus years that I have owned a home in Edson, I've watched our town gradually decline in terms of safety and services and increase in crime and homelessness, even though our taxes keep increasing every year. It seems to me that the mayor and town council should be more concerned with tax-paying, hardworking citizens' safety and rights than homeless people that do not pay property taxes. My main reason for opposing this redistricting is safety for Edson citizens. Other concerns are property value and enticing professionals to want to live in our community and provide their services. I would like to have a doctor. I have been accosted visiting my bank, the RBC in Edson, multiple times by people that have not lived in Edson long-term that are living in these facilities. I should not have to feel unsafe going to my bank or be verbally abused when there. When withdrawing cash at RBC, I've been advised by staff that I need to be escorted to my vehicle so that I would not be attacked and robbed by a person that I overheard being told by the teller that there was $21 in his bank account, just enough money to be a customer in that facility to enable him to harass people in that financial institution. This is so completely wrong on so many levels. Edson has become a town that I would not feel safe walking around after dark. I used to walk around at night and not think anything of it. It is mind-blowing to me that our elected representatives want to make our streets even less safe to house people in the center of town 24 hours a day that can be dangerous. Edson used to be a place that I was proud to call home. It is not anymore. I'd heard that the could be a safe injection site. I'm told that that is not the case, but how do we know that if there's no control over changes? If it is absolutely necessary to house people that cannot afford their own lodging, then why not set them up in the empty building by the hospital that we as taxpayers have been paying to sit empty? At least that building is on the east end of town and not in the center of town where more citizens will be affected. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you so much. Next on our list of pre-registered speakers is Tara Thompson.
Do I have to press anything?
Welcome. No, you are all ready to go.
Okay. My name's Tara Thompson. Some people might know me as my middle name Tennille on social media. I've been documenting my journey in Edson. I went from being, like all of you, normal, hardworking. I ran a medical clinic, and I decided to sell all my stuff and buy an RV and head to BC. I broke down in Edson 4 months ago, and I have now become homeless due to all kinds of things. So I have seen the bottom half for the last few months. I would like you to know that I would be dead without Reflections. They have fed me, they have kept me warm, and they have kept me unafraid. I've had deep naps in this place. It is so safe. It is an old folks' home inside. And the people that come here are the same people. I already know their names, their histories, and many of them are autistic like I am. They are neurodivergents who are having trouble and struggling. And I have learned in the last 4 months that once you lose your money, it's very hard to live and get back to where you were. I would also like to state, just to throw some fun in your lives, I'm very spiritual. I'm a spiritual guide. I was given a vision in September when I went on this journey, that I was meant to do this journey because there is going to be a place on my drive that I would stop and people would need me, mental health-wise, the neurodivergents and the homeless. On my way to Victoria, I broke down in Edson. I have tried to leave 4 times, and each time I make it 15 minutes outside of Edson, I break down for no reason. I started a GoFundMe a little while ago because the building from my vision is the Rexall, the Switzer's pharmacy. And I was planning on turning it into a place where the neurodivergent, the lonely men, the loneliness of the men epidemic that is going to cause skyrocketing homelessness soon in Edson. And then I found Reflections. You guys already had this building, but it needs more resources. It needs to be open longer. The people that are at the bank, I talk to them, the people who sleep in the bank, it's the only place they're allowed to sleep that the police won't take them. They have to stay there to wait for Reflections to open. These are people that sit and do puzzles and eat and have a shower. I have been there every day, all day, and nothing has happened. They are kind, they are respectful because they understand if they're not, they have nowhere to go. So I'm just here to thank, first of all the Edsonites because you have kept me alive for 4 months, every single person I've met. But Reflections is giving me a chance to get better each day so I can start applying for jobs, do my resume, the things that people can't do when they're just surviving the cold. Thankfully, I've only been on the streets where it's been -4, -6, but the wait from 5 p.m. until, I did it Friday night, from 5 p.m. till 10 in the morning is astronomically hard. And I know they're more weathered and they're used to it, but they were crying. This one lady, Yvonne, said she had to walk the length of the city just to keep warm the other night. And they wait for Reflections to open. And it's not just the homeless, it is lonely men that come there. So I speak on behalf of Daryl and Tim and Peter and Bruce and everyone else who comes there just to play cards and be with other people. So I just wanted to put my 5 cents in because if Reflections were to close tomorrow, I would officially become homeless on the streets like that. So I think people are very misunderstand what it is, and I wish they would go see it because it really is just a nice, safe place for people to go on the computer and read and watch TV and feel safe.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation. Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, thank you. Next, Janet Wilkinson. Welcome.
Thank you. I wasn't prepared to speak, but after I heard Bad Bunny say, "We're all human," I thought, yes, maybe it's time we all did speak out. All right, as an individual, I've watched Reflections over the years, and I've been part of many homeless task force and seeing what we could do. And I find at Reflections now, and as they have been, they are successful working with homeless people and people with mental health issues. Michelle, I've never seen a person who can stretch a dollar further to feed more people. She does just an excellent job. And it has been very successful. And it seemed to be the fact that we have homeless people, and Reflections can't solve all of that. But I know when I went to my hairdresser, when Reflections was shut, she said, "Oh, I see a lot more people on the street than I have before." It just shows us how many people are helped by Reflections during the day, that they do have a place to go to, and they're not just hanging out bothering business people, obviously. I'm also in the Lions Club, and through our casino fund, we support Reflections every month with a budget so that they can feed the people and clients that they have in there. And I'm proud to do that, as all the Lions are. Now, I'm also the president of the Etzenden District Recycling, and we did try the pods there. In the end, it didn't turn out as successfully as it possibly should have. But we all need to support what we can support. And I find now with Reflections, they've put so much grant money into fixing up that old liquor store into an absolutely wonderful facility. And for Etzenden District Recycling, we used it for our Christmas party with all of our seniors. And certainly they all came in, and it's a safe, caring place. And to me, as a citizen of Etzenden, that's what I think we need, are safe, caring places. So I certainly hope that it can be redistricted so that they could possibly sleep there overnight. I can't even imagine what it would be like to have to sleep outside overnight. So thank you for your attention, councillors. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking. Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none. So we have no more in-house pre-registered speakers. Is there anyone here in attendance who would like to speak? And just a reminder, please state your name and where you live for us, especially since you weren't pre-registered. Thank you so much.
Technically pre-registered through Mr. Iwaschuk, but we were able to make it.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Thank you for having us and for hearing us out today, being unregistered, technically. Okay. Good evening, councillors, and my name is Kim Broderson. I'm owner at Legacy Petroleum, which operates as a petroleum agent for UFA Cooperative in and around Alberta and outside of Edson, Hinton, Wildwood, kind of surrounding areas. This is Mark Roy. He is a longtime employee of ours and a full-time mechanic with Legacy, as well as a longtime resident in Edson. Mark works exclusively out of our shop, our Legacy Petroleum shop, that is located at 4840 First Ave in Edson, which is just down the street, kind of a stone's throw from the current Reflection site. We understand that the current site is to be rezoned to allow discretionary and expanded use and operation there. We want to start by saying that we are in favor of community programs that benefit and support those at risk in our community. And we thank those who have given their time, volunteer or otherwise, to make Edson and surrounding areas a better place for disadvantaged individuals. The work that Anne and her team has done is amazing, and we applaud that and we're thankful for it. We have lived in the community and we've worked alongside the current Reflections facility without ever opposing or speaking out negatively against the challenges that we have faced as a business from a financial or health and safety standpoint. In fact, I often look over at the site and I do see people outside. I see them on the ground. I see them standing with their heads down, and I get worried. I've gone into the site and asked for people to come out and actually check on the individuals, being as we're just up the street and we routinely see these things. So again, we are supportive, and we have been, I think, assistive as possible with the current facility. With that said, the current proposal to expand the facility, we have significant reservations and questions. So we have had our trucks and our shop vandalized just up the road from Reflections. Our parts and equipment have been stolen. We've had individuals under the influence come into our shop when our doors have been left open, unauthorized, uninvited. We've had our fuel siphoned. We have had our stereos ripped out. We have had cables stolen. You name it, it's all happened, and we've had people come in, like I said, which has been kind of a scary situation. We've tried to be good neighbors, and we have never spoken out publicly in the past, but we are honestly becoming increasingly exhausted by the impact to our business and the mental health and well-being of our employees. We have some questions that we would like to have addressed, and if I could just maybe read those out to you guys on record. The first would be, what due diligence has been done on behalf of the applicant or otherwise to address the impact of increased capacity at the current Reflections on our downtown businesses? So what has been done to address increased loitering, increased theft, or business disruptions by expanding operations to, we don't know how far the operations would be expanded under this redistricting? That's our first question. Second would be, how would increased or more permanent residential capacity impact the safety and security of neighboring businesses such as ourselves and Mr. Iwaschuk's? Example, will there be increased security in the area 24 hours? Again, we can't really understate the fact that we cannot leave a truck currently parked outside. We cannot leave one plugged in because our extension cords will be stolen and our cargo will be rifled through, just to be bluntly honest. Number 3, have neighboring businesses been consulted to learn of the challenges that we are facing prior to rezoning and increased operational flexibility? I know there was mention of a letter being sent out, but I personally didn't get a letter on behalf of Legacy Petroleum. Try to be a little faster because Mark has a brief comments to make. What other more appropriate permanent facilities have been considered outside the commercial business area that Reflections currently operates out of? I won't go on about that, as I believe it has been mentioned, but have there been other sites that have been investigated as being more appropriate for long-term and permanent facilities and overnight stays? And I guess this is the kind of final, most important question from my perspective. If council members become responsible for determining appropriate operational changes through a zoning change to DCO, what efforts will be made to contact local business neighbors prior to decisions being made? Or in other words, how will our concerns of local businesses translate into criteria for decisions on expanding operations? How will we get the word out onto what we're facing and what needs to be considered on expansion? So if Mark could just briefly give an explanation of how he has been impacted. He has worked at this shop in particular for 16 years, day in and day out, barely takes a day off. So he's a good person to kind of give our perspective and the influence these operations will have on us.
My name is Mark Roy. Lived in Edson since 2000. We can no longer leave property outside, not even for a brief period of time. Extension cords, always been stolen in the past. I used to be able to leave my shop doors open for fresh air through the summer. Can't do that no more. I've had people walk in, won't leave. I can't even leave. I used to leave my doors open to walk over to Napa to get parts. Can't do that no more. Gotta lock it all up, go over there for a quick 5-minute part. It's just the theft, and can't leave vehicles around. It's just unfortunate.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Any questions or comments from council at this time? Seeing none, thank you. Thank you so much. Before I move to, pardon me. No, we're good. Oh, pardon me. Yes, we have another speaker. Thank you, everybody, for pointing for me. Again, if you could just introduce yourself and where you live before you start, thank you.
I'm Ole Nodeland. I've been here for 50 years in business. Excuse me, I don't like doing this. I'm not against Reflections, but not in a downtown core. I was gonna rent a building off Wayne. Ain't gonna happen. It's right across the alley. It's just, you can't do it. I've had them in my shop too. I've had 30 or 40 thefts. in different parts of town. So the closer I would get, the worse it would get, is my feeling. You have buildings beyond the hospital. You have that one over by the library. You had reflections in the recycle. What happened there? I suspect they couldn't keep them out of the recycle yards, so they changed locations. But to rezone a commercial industrial property is wrong. Because a month ago, I wanted to do something at Fost. I was zoned direct control, but that property beside it wasn't. Now, the town got together and wouldn't allow something on residential anymore. So council told me, rezone it into direct control, you'll get away with it. That's the only, and twice before that, I've been told in Edson and Yellowhead County, if I want to do something like that, the public is going to be against it, so go direct control, and then you only have to worry about council. That's exactly what's happening here, in my mind. So have reflections, but don't put them in the downtown core. We're trying to rebuild it. I was in the bank 3 days ago at the credit union, and I took my card out to see what my balance was. It was the only bank in town that would give balance in U.S. accounts. Where's the ATM? Oh, they took it out, I was told. That's a block away from where you're talking about. Why'd they take it out? Oh, it was corporate. You know, they took it out because they wanted to lock the door. Simple as that. People were sleeping in there. So why put more in the downtown core where we're all supposed to be? Put them someplace else. That's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none. Do we have anybody else in attendance who would like to come forward and say anything? Okay, seeing no one. I believe we do have a speaker virtually. There will only be audio, so if they could please unmute and their 5 minutes will begin. Again, please introduce yourself.
Sheila, if you're on, just unmute your mic.
Well, I'm unmuted, but I wasn't registered to speak. I was just here for observation purposes.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you for joining us. All right. So with no more members of the public looking to speak, there is an opportunity for the applicant to have a final 5 minutes if there's anything that they wanted to address from any of the speakers.
Wasn't prepared for this, but.
Thank you, everyone, for their presentations, and it was very good to hear all the other opinions. Nothing is perfect, we know that, but if there is issues, we would like people to come forward and to talk to us about it. We do, when there is overnight, there is a security person there. We do have cameras. There is very high regard for security. All I can say is that no, we are no interest at all of a safe ejection site. That is very important. We also have a high regard for security, and so that we monitor, and Michelle does monitor outside. If there ever is an issue, please pick up the phone, give us a call. I mean, I think you wouldn't have the issues of people sleeping in banks and on the street if, in fact, Reflections is open all winter long, no matter what the temperature. And right now it's minus 25 with the wind chill. Like, I'd like anyone to go outside and sleep if it's minus 5 or 10 and see what happens to someone. Like, go out and try that. I mean, that's why we want to have it open from 9 at night to 8 in the morning. when it's winter time, and so that people can come in and not be on the streets or not in your bank alleyways. So in closing, we are open. We're there for people to come in for tours or come and ask us a question. And I do get angry a little bit with social media because lots of things get flowing around social media that they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I think we've lost the art of communication. And what it is coming and asking those questions. This is just a rezoning. This is not to allow us, and it's never, Reflections is there to stay, like it or not. So how do we make it better, or how do we change or improve? And that's all we're saying. Thanks.
Thank you so much. So are there any other questions, comments from council before we move on? Councillor Taylor.
Thank you. Through the Deputy Mayor, just with your permission, there's certainly lots of comments regarding safety. And with your permission, I'd like to bring up Staff Sergeant Delisle and Chief Milton to the mic to hear their comments just regarding a question, if that's okay.
Yes. If they'd like to come forward, speak to the safety issue.
So thank you, gentlemen. Obviously, thank you to all the speakers. A common thread being safety. Safety is the wheelhouse of you two gentlemen, representing the RCMP, representing the fire department, and the manager of enforcement services. Reflection's been open approximately a year now. You've seen it open during that time during the day, and obviously at -25 overnight. Thus far, from your perspectives from the RCMP, fire department, enforcement, how has the operations gone? From a safety perspective, both from housed individuals, unhoused individuals, and also in terms of number of calls you're receiving during certainly those overnight stays when it is -25. So just want to hear your professional comments on those items.
Go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. Thank you through the chair to Councillor Taylor. From a fire aspect, we have had 2 calls since Reflections is open, and that was actually during their construction phase. We ended up having some dust get into into the detector, and that activated the alarm, which activated us. From an enforcement services, from our community peace officer standpoint, we've had 2 interactions. One was for someone sleeping in the alleyway, and there was another one, can't remember exactly the details of it, but something similar to that nature. Those are the 2 calls that our officers have had directly in relation with Reflections since they've opened, and from a fire standpoint currently. Thank you.
Thank you. In terms of RCMP safety, us attending the location and whatnot, so I did run our stats quickly and I just put the word reflection just to see how many calls for service we had, and there was 8 hits for last year, ranging from a well-being check to a suspicious person. There was one incident that was borderline, maybe a little bit of violence, but that's all. Overall, we do not get call to Reflection. Like if I were to say, like, does my member go there on a regular basis? Absolutely not. It's usually a place that, well run, well kept. But looking at those stats, I also know that the local businesses are not always calling the police sometimes for the little things. So I took the time and went and talked to some of the employees of the surrounding buildings last week. And yes, there are some things that are happening that are not being reported. I think it was mentioned by some of the presenters here earlier. They had to change a lot of their business practice in terms of leaving a vehicle in the back, leaving a shed open, or even sometimes having a shed or trailer with a lock. In the morning, the lock is cut. You can tell someone has looked inside. So not everything gets reported to us, and we're fully aware of that. There was some comments about sometimes they see that some people have urinated like outside along their businesses. The car parking, covered parking behind one of the building there, they are not inclined to use it anymore because sometimes some of the clients are like just hanging out there. So there are some little activities that are happening that are not necessarily always reported to us. Talking again to the business, and I don't want to talk for them, but the main message was like we live with it, but we had to adjust some of our business practices, like doors gets locked and this and that. So yes. Yeah.
Any other questions, comments from council? Councillor Wilson-Lair?
Through the deputy mayor to administration, or no, just to Mr. Steffler. But first of all, I have a comment. I wish to express my appreciation for Reflections, the Friendship Center, and the Provincial Government Homeless Supports and Housing Stability for their letter for our review and study. I'd like to express my appreciation for the written contribution for study and review from Edson Logo, and for everyone who presented here tonight. I commend Mr. Owaschuk and Ms. Michaelchuk for opening conversation for suggestions and ideas. This process relies on input from stakeholders, and suggestions and ideas open up conversations with different levels of government and critical thinking. I wish anyone researching ideas the best in making connections with those that they need to receive additional information from, and engaging with various levels of government. I thank all written submissions for acknowledging each other and the vital roles each participant plays in these complicated matters. I want to be clear that my questions and comments are solely related to my study of the current zoning and the zoning application before me, with a heavy focus on appeal rights. So for clarity, what are the legal, planning, or precedent-setting risks to council and the community using direct control in this case versus addressing this through a broader land use bylaw amendment, maybe? With my focus again, main focus again being on protecting the right of appeal now and in the future. My other question, or my question in relation to this assurance is that the direct control draft bylaw attached to our agenda package is very broad and without any specifics from the previous approval or new expectations or assurances written into that actual bylaw. It is procedurally valid, but substantively open-ended. I have concerns over a broad direct control bylaw, particularly as it relates to future council's decision-making and possible provincial government frameworks changing in the years to come. Essentially, this broad direct control bylaw removes the rights to appeal future applications without the benefit of every one of us here today having a crystal ball. So I'm wondering if administration can address those concerns.
Through the deputy mayor to Councillor Wilson-Lair, I'm going to actually ask Kyle to answer this question for you.
Thank you, Ms. Darling, and to council through the deputy mayor. There is a number of mechanisms that council can use when reviewing a development permit application that comes before it within the direct control district. One such option is a non-statutory public hearing, during which, when council is in receipt of a full development permit application that would change the use on the site, council would hold a public hearing similar to tonight's exercise, in which they would be able to hear from residents for or against the specifics of a development permit application that was on council's agenda at that time. I would also, I guess, just comment that this broad open direct control open district has been utilized by previous councils and was determined through some discussion that this direct control open district, without specific development regulations in it, has been an appropriate mechanism for council's decision-making authority in the past.
Councillor Wilson-Lair?
Through the deputy mayor to Mr. Steffler, sorry for the name, through to administration. The briefing note for the public hearing also indicates that anticipated future intensification of the development will be within the existing building footprint and will not result in additional impacts on the surrounding development as a whole. My question is there a guarantee? Is this a guarantee, or are these just hopeful or administrative assurances to the surrounding development area?
It is not a guarantee, Counselor. And I guess without a fulsome development permit application in front of council, that's not something that we can provide 100% clarity on at this time. I guess what I would say is that when and if council is called upon to make a decision on a future development permit in this area, council may wish to consider that in their decision moving forward. That, you know, there was this discussion that future expansion would not expand the footprint of the building.
Any other questions from council? Seeing none, thank you so much. So, I want to just myself say thank you to everyone who was in attendance here for the public hearing tonight. It's important that people feel that they've been heard, and I hope that has been the case this evening. I want to remind all those who spoke, if you'd like to submit a written submission, you can email it. Are there any final questions for clarification from council before I close the public hearing? No? Okay. I will close the public hearing part of our meeting at 8:10, and we will continue on to the next item on our agenda. Members of the public, thank you for joining us. If you would like to stay for the rest of the meeting, please feel free. If you would like to make your way out, thank you again for attending. Moving on, we have no presentations and sure, can we have a recess for 5 minutes as the public, those who wish to leave, clear out? Okay, welcome back. Next, under bylaws, we have a presentation by GM Hawken of Draft Council Committee Bylaw number 2320. GM Hawken. Oops.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fogarty. Good evening, Council. Tonight's discussion is to talk about the proposed Council Committee bylaw that will govern the 3 committees of the FCSS Advisory Board, Youth Council, and the Municipal Policing Committee. The intent is to create one consistent bylaw framework while respecting the unique needs of each committee. So Council provided feedback on this draft bylaw at the December 9th Committee of the Whole meeting. Through that, there was actually 20 edits made, so it was excellent feedback, which were shown on the red line version that's attached to the RFD in front of you. Following those updates, we circulated the draft bylaw to both the FCSS Advisory Board and Youth Council. It did not get circulated to the Municipal Policing Committee, as it has not yet been established due to vacancies. So at the Youth Council, they had 2 proposed additional changes. One was clarity around their meeting schedule. They meet between October to June, not September to June that we originally had. And they also formally appoint a recording secretary for each meeting, similar to what they do for a chair. So both of these changes have been incorporated into the draft bylaw that you see in front of you in the clean version. Administration has also implemented an administrative internal reminder due to Youth Council recruitment being slightly earlier. So we will ensure that appointments are made in September rather than October when the organizational meeting will happen, and that's when we will do the other 2 committee appointments. FCSS Advisory Board feedback. So we did receive opposition on one of our proposed changes that we brought forward, and that was to require 50% plus 1 of the membership is from Town of Edson residents. And the rationale was the current board currently has 4 members from Yellowhead County and 2 from the Town of Edson. During the most recent recruitment cycle, only 1 person was turned away, and that person was also from Yellowhead County. We recognize that these are volunteer positions, and recruitment has become increasingly challenging. And the Yellowhead County board members that are currently on shared that they access services in Edson daily, which include work, school, recreation, FCSS services. They view Edson as their home community, not the county, and they do not bring a county-specific agenda to the table. They emphasize their emphasis is focusing on doing good work for the town of Edson and the broader community. Therefore, based on this feedback, administration is recommending that council retains the original eligibility wording that allows both town of Edson and Yellowhead County and does not have a preference to either. So right now, within the current draft bylaw, it states all appointed members shall be residents of the town of Edson or Yellowhead County and shall remain members only for as long as they continue to reside within each of those two communities. We did look into the legal parameters around the consent form for youth council because of us putting it onto iCompass, potential photos being on, minutes getting posted, and the legal advice came back that we will need to have a consent form for the youth to be signed. At the beginning of the application process, there already is a piece at the beginning where when you sign up and register, so we are just going to build it into that process moving forward for future years. This year, we will have to pass the consent form around the current committee. However, we recognize that if a parent is not comfortable with that this year, this will be a grace period year. We do not have to post anything publicly this year, and we will incorporate it into our system moving forward after this year. Because we do know it's a change mid-year. We're not going to kick anyone off the committee because of us moving to these more consistent parameters. So we'll make it work with this year, and then we'll make it an official practice starting next year. So in closing, the current draft bylaw you see incorporates Council's December 9th Committee of the Whole feedback, input from both FCSS Advisory Board and Youth Council, as well as administrative and legal considerations to support the transparency and good governance. Administration is looking for Council's direction on any of the proposed changes. If no major changes or research is required, administration is planning on bringing this bylaw back for second and third reading for final adoption, which includes repealing the current FCSS board bylaw, the municipal policing bylaw, and then we will also repeal the youth council policy at the February 17th, 2026 council meeting. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, GM Hawken. Council, any questions or comments? Councillor Taylor.
Through the Deputy Mayor, thank you to GM Hawkins and your staff for the work you put into this. First things first, I do like the flexibility that's built in, especially when you're dealing with 3 different boards, committees. There is not a one-size-fits-all, so I like to see that flexibility. I appreciate the honesty and feedback from our FCSS board. I sat on that board, and you easily forget that many of those residents, they call Edson home. They live like 2 minutes outside of town, like 5 minutes outside of town. They are Edson residents. So I am supportive of it reverting back. I had the pleasure of attending the Youth Council meeting last night. Councillor Pacischny couldn't make it, so I'm the alternate, and I got to attend with Deputy Mayor Fogarty. So we brought up with the council yet again some of the changes to be expected. And one of the things that we decided just to highlight is, unlike the FCSS, is that according to Youth Council, it would still be 50% plus 1. The challenge, now we asked the Youth Council their thoughts on this, and many of them said, well, if you live out of town, you still go to school in Edson, what's the point? I mean, somebody said, one youth counselor said, if you're willing to sign up for the Edson Youth Council, you're doing work for Edson. Good. If you want to contribute in a way, let them contribute, no matter where you live. And one of the youth council members brought up, well, what if they live in, a mother or father, one lives in town and one lives out of town? Now what? I asked one of the members who lived out of town, how long does it take her to get to school? About 4 minutes, which is apparently faster than what Deputy Fogarty can make it out of Glenwood. So maybe on the youth council, we drop the 50% plus one there too. Listen, we have Yellowhead County students who wish to come forward to serve the needs of Edson, then let them. It's certainly not an issue we have right now with the current makeup of it, but I don't want it to be an issue later. So let's just drop that 50% plus one. I'd be supportive of moving first reading if we have that coming into second reading. I don't know if I need a motion to change anything at this time.
My recommendation would be to approve first reading with the amendment and describing removing the 50% plus one, and then council can vote on that.
Okay.
And then depending on how that vote goes, we'll move forward after that. That would be my recommendation.
Okay. So I would be happy to make that motion going forward. So my only, I guess, question, and you did bring up the getting parental permission so that names can be placed on media and things like that. What if a parent chooses not to sign that or doesn't allow their child to have their name printed? Because that can happen. I would hate again to see a student not participate in youth council because of whatever legal matter they might be going through or things like that.
GM Hawken.
As of right now, the way that it is built, starting in 2027, when the new, or end of 2027, when the new youth council comes, if they are not willing to be on public record, then they would not be able to join youth council at this time.
Councillor Taylor.
Through the Deputy Mayor to administration, I think I might have an issue with that. Again, if a student wishes to come forward and wants to take part in it, and there might be things beyond their control, why a parent may not want to sign that form. Deputy Mayor Fogarty and I know that from experience at our school. We have lots of students who participate in lots of different activities that, you're not permitted to take photos or whatever. And it's not for us to question that. How we navigate that, whether you just block out their name, it can be done. And if people ask questions, listen, it's just an agreement we have with the parents, period. So if I have to, again, add an amendment on that, I guess I will. I'm going to need assistance from administration to make those amendments, but we'll get through it.
GM Hawken.
For this concern, I would hesitate on making an amendment on that one. I'll bring back more information for second and third reading to look more into if there are ways we can get around it or not, as you suggested. But I need to get confirmation of that before
Thank you. I would just like to take a minute and echo some of what Councillor Taylor had to say from the meeting with Youth Council last night. As we reviewed that with them, Youth Council was very adamant that they were all there to make Edson a better place. And I think it was quite refreshing to hear how passionate they were about making Edson a better place. They didn't view themselves as County Edson, whatever. They were here to make Edson a better place. I completely understood the discussion we had at Committee of the Whole when we decided on that. But after speaking with the current members of Youth Council, I agree with Councillor Taylor. I don't think that is necessary. All of those Youth Council members are in it for the right reasons. Councillor Taylor.
And through the Deputy Mayor as well. I did support, I think it was Mayor Zahara that put these ideas forward. I did support it in Committee of the Whole. But when you see the impact it can have on real people, whether it's FCSS or Youth Council, you realize what looks good on paper just may not work good in reality. So those are my comments.
Councillor Holden.
Through the Deputy Mayor to administration and council, I really believe in the Youth Council and the FCSS committee as well as the Municipal Policing Committee. My only thing with the youth, and I would support removing the 50+1 on those committees. What if the Youth Council has to go to a public function, and how do we protect them if they are not able to sign the documentation to be publicly acknowledged?
GM Hawken.
Through the chair to Councillor Holden, that is something that we would not have control over. Youth Council has the ability to attend any public events that they would like to attend. So that would then become a decision between the parent and that child, not between administration saying yes or no to them attending.
Councillor Wilson-Lair.
Through the deputy mayor to GM Hawken and all of council, I'm glad that this conversation has come up in terms of youth council, because when with FCSS, I guess the comment that I want to make that everybody said is that we are trying to build a volunteer base, not limit it. And we want, especially probably with youth, I have not sat on youth council. However, those are the all volunteers that we're bringing up, and hopefully they go into adulthood and seniorhood and everything, volunteering for the town, because we know that we don't have a large pool of volunteers anymore like maybe it was in the past. I want to commend the town administration for looking for the feedback from the different boards, particularly with FCSS, and the fact that that verbiage is not going to be changed is extremely important, and I wholeheartedly agree with it. So, yeah, thank you.
Any more questions or comments from council? Seeing none, do we need to make a motion or for the amendment that Councillor Taylor asked for? GM Hawken. Pardon me. There we go.
Yes, please. My recommendation is that council adopts first reading of the bylaw with the amendment of the removal of the 50% plus one clause in the youth council terms of reference.
Thank you, GM Hawken.
Just give us a couple seconds to get it on the screen.
Oh, pardon me.
Deputy Mayor, could we request a 5-minute recess just to get the wording up on the screen here?
Sure. Can we get a 5-minute recess? Please and thank you. All right, welcome back again, everybody. So I think we have that motion ready. Can I get someone to make the motion? Councillor Taylor.
I move that council give first reading to bylaw number 2320 with an amendment to remove the requirement that 50% plus one of members must be Town of Edson residents from Schedule C Youth Council terms of reference.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you so much. Moving on, business items. Next, we will have a presentation from our Economic Development Officer, Crystal Chachka, affordable housing strategy collaboration with Evergreens Foundation.
Good evening, Mayor. I think I would know that by now. Good evening, Deputy Mayor and Council. Tonight I'll be presenting an opportunity for the Town of Edson to advance affordable housing through a potential partnership with the Evergreens Foundation. This aligns with our housing strategy and provides a timely chance to tap into available provincial funding. As a reminder, affordable and attainable housing was identified as priority under the previous council's strategic plan. In 2025, council approved the housing strategy, which includes 41 action-based items on the housing needs assessment. One of those actions directs administration to facilitate partnerships with nonprofit organizations and private developers to identify and pursue funding and create non-market affordable rental housing. The province has opened up a grant opportunity through the Affordable Housing Partnership Program, with the next intake expected in the fall of 2026. To be competitive, partnerships will need to be established early, and that's why we're asking for approval to begin engaging with the Evergreens Foundation now. The housing strategy identifies partnership development as a long-term priority in the 8 to 10-year timeframe. However, because the province and federal government have made affordable housing a priority right now,
we have a strategic opportunity to accelerate this work. Administration has reviewed the possible partners and identified the Evergreens Foundation as a strong fit. They are an established nonprofit with existing affordable housing operations right here in Edson. And if we look at the traditional housing continuum graphic that's on the screen, it identifies where affordable housing falls on this spectrum. On the far left is short-term non-market housing, which consists of homeless, emergency shelters, and transitional housing. In the middle is long-term non-market housing, which is subsidized housing, affordable rental housing, and affordable home ownership. And that is the spectrum that we're targeting with this grant. The far right is long-term market housing, which is market rental housing and market home ownership. And that is the majority of Edson housing stock is the far right long-term market housing. Here, I'll provide a quick overview of the Affordable Housing Partnership Program. The province may fund up to 1/3 of eligible project costs with the possibility of federal matching funding. Eligible products range from mixed income developments to specialized housing and mixed use buildings. The program prioritizes construction-ready projects that meet minimum requirements and align with government priorities. Applicants or partners must have at least 3 years of experience delivering and operating housing projects, which is why working with the Evergreens Foundation positions us well. There is also some flexibility to stack provincial funding in certain situations. Overall, the program is competitive and early preparation is key. The Evergreens Foundation is a not-for-profit housing management body serving several municipalities, including Edson, Hinton, Jasper, Yellowhead County, MD of Greenview, and Parkland County. They already have experience, governance structure, and operational capacity required for the AHPP partnerships. Before they can proceed with any joint project, they need approval from their board of directors. If both council and their board approve, we can begin shaping an affordable housing project together. And tonight, administration is seeking a motion from council to begin engagement with the Evergreens Foundation on a potential affordable housing partnership program partnership. If council approves, administration will begin preliminary discussion and return to council with detailed updates and project components at a future committee of the whole meeting. This step simply opens the door to begin engaging with the Evergreens Foundation. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Do we have any questions from council? Councillor Schramm.
Yeah, through the chair to administration, not so much a question, more of a comment that being a member of the Evergreens Foundation, I think this aligns very, very well strategically with the town and with the board. I think this is a great opportunity to have a great partnership and really move some of those initiatives forward. So I think it's a great initiative that I fully support, and we're looking forward to it happening.
Thank you so much. Councillor Taylor.
Through the Deputy Mayor, Ms. Chashka, thank you for bringing this forward and getting on this. This has been something that we've been wanting to do since the housing strategy of build these partnerships. And I'm supportive of this. There's lots of, you mentioned the provincial grant, there's federal dollars to be made, there's money out there, governments are willing to give this, but we have to have a plan, we have to have a body or partnership we're going to be working with. So I think this is a very exciting venture, and I hope it goes well. My only other comment, when we talk about affordable housing, obviously a subsect to that is sustainable housing and the work that the Homelessness Task Force is doing. Obviously not related to the grant, because Homelessness Task Force doesn't build homes or anything, but just keep in mind working with that organization with well in terms of sustainable housing. That is something they want to work towards in the next few years, and it still falls within the aspect of affordable homes and finding ways to fill that niche in our community. But again, supportive of the motion that's on the agenda and moving forward with this project.
Thank
you. Any other questions or comments from council? So for myself, I'll just echo, I think it's an important project and important to get started right away. You mentioned the Evergreen Board would have to approve as well. When do we expect their approval?
Thank you. Through the Deputy Mayor to Deputy Mayor Fogarty and Council. So the Evergreens Foundation has a board meeting next week. It is my expectation that they will now have the ability to add this to add this to their agenda, and then their board can then deliberate it at that time.
Thank you so much. No other questions or comments? Thank you so much. So I will call for a motion. If someone would like to put the motion forward, Councillor Holden.
I motion that council direct administration to engage with the Evergreens Foundation on a potential partnership through the Alberta Affordable Housing Partnership Program.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you again. Next, Chief Financial Officer, Ms. McDonald, on the 2025 uncollectible accounts. CFO McDonald.
Mayor and Council. Before you is the 2025 uncollectible accounts. With me tonight is Kelsey Schmidt to answer any detailed questions on the write-offs if you have any questions regarding that. So the background, as part of our year-end financial procedures for the town of Edson, administration has completed a comprehensive review of outstanding accounts receivable to ensure the town's statement of financial position accurately reflects collective amounts as of December 31st, 2025. This review focuses on identifying aged, inactive, and uncollectible accounts, particularly within the business licensing and the animal licensing programs, where several years of accumulated data required cleanup. The proposed write-off is intended to remove accounts that, despite reasonable collection efforts, are no longer collectible. Completing this cleanup ensures that the town's financial records are not overstated and that the 2026 opening balances for these programs are reliable, accurate, and useful for ongoing reporting and monitoring. While the total recommended write-off amount for 2025 is higher than the previous years, this variance is primarily due to one-time cleanup of historical data within these program areas. Moving forward, enhanced data accuracy and improved management practices are expected to reduce the volume of future write-off requirements. So the financial impact is before you. The 2025 write-off request is totaling $54,325.50. Prior years for comparison, 2024 was $2,768.98 and 23 was $168.53, with 22 being $3,594.34. The removal of these balances ensures the town's financial position is not overstated and is in alignment with the public sector accounting standards. To further strengthen the town's processes, accounts receivable collection policy is currently being drafted and will be presented to council in the near future. This policy will establish consistent procedures for collection and follow-up, aging reviews, documentation of the collection history, and it will strengthen administration's efficiency and provide clear governance and accountability. This is a summary of our 2025 uncollectible accounts, totaling the amount we are proposing to write off. A review of 313 customers was conducted. Which resulted in 285 balances that were deemed to be proposed to council for expensing to bad debts. 5 balances are going to the debt collection process. 13 balances were proposed to be transferred to taxes as they represent bylaw charges. 13 balances were proposed, 27 are proposed to continue collection attempts, and the balances are representative of invoices dating from 2019 to 2025. Our recommendation for tonight is that council authorize administration to expense uncollectible accounts in the nature of $54,325.50 to bad debt expense as presented. And I ask council for any detailed questions to further support the motion.
Thank you, CFO McDonald. Questions from Town Council? Councillor Holden.
Yes, through the Deputy Mayor to administration and Ms. McDonald. Thank you for the continued cleanup of the town's accounting and financial record keeping. It's good that we're moving forward in that. I just had a couple of questions on the details of these numbers. 131 animal licensing that were just not collected, or they were billed but never collected. The bigger ones was the landfill. We had, looks like 3 customers that had quite a bit of landfill usage but didn't pay it. Are those people on record as if they're no longer allowed to dump at the landfill, or were they one and done kind of thing for us?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Holden. For the animal licenses, what we had experienced in the animal license as well as the business license program is there needed to be better communication between the departments. In fact, a number of invoices for business licenses and animal licenses were just an annual renewal, and if they didn't renew, it wasn't made inactive. And so it stayed on the accounts receivable year after year, and it needed a cleanup so that now we can go into business license and animal license and know, okay, who are our active business license holder as well as the animal license, and if they are not renewing from the invoices this year, then we will send it to enforcement, and enforcement can deal with those individuals and or make them inactive. As for the landfill fees, I think I'll defer to Kelsey to answer that question.
Thank you, through the chair, to Councillor Holden. So a number of the items in this list, a number of the customers, as Ms. McDonald mentioned, date back many years. Typically with debt collection efforts, if we were to send a customer account to debt collection, anything beyond 2 years, we're unfortunately unable to do that. So our only option at that point is to continue collection efforts as the town itself, or leave them on the list or write them off, essentially. The other, to answer the second part of your question there, our intention was to keep a detailed record of the instances, these customers that were writing off. For instances like the landfill where they were correctly invoiced, we know they use the landfill services. We would be keeping a detailed record of those customers and sharing that information with the landfill departments, with the transportation departments that would be relevant to the customer, so we can keep that in mind moving forward, that either those customers have to pay up front and they're not allowed to put it on account, or however we would deal with that for each specific department.
Any other questions or comments from council? Just for myself, when we first look at this and you see these large numbers compared to previous years, but I think this is good that we're putting the right processes in place so that we don't see these large numbers, and we understand that these are over many years that are uncollectible and need to be simply cleared off the books. So thank you so much for your work on this to make this it'll be much better moving forward. So we appreciate that. That being said, if there are no other, sure. Councillor Wilson-Lair.
Sorry, I should have. Through the Deputy Mayor to CFO McDonald and Kelsey, I was just going to say that I do understand that this is a high one-time number because you're cleaning up historical data, and I commend the town's commitment to strengthening the processes and those policies. And I just wanted to ask, when collection procedures are in place going forward, you will be keeping records of those collection, just in case we ever wanted to have, proof of what was actually done to collect sometimes a significant debt. But I do understand that many times at this stage in the process, when you've gone through the available collection methods and then you're moving into court collection methods and things like that, oftentimes the cost of collecting is going to way outweigh the actual debt that needs to be written off. So, yeah, just happy to see the process improvements. Thank you.
CFO McDonald.
Thank you through the chair to Councillor Wilson-Lear. Yes, in the accounts receivable policy coming forward, there'll be details about who's responsible to communicate with the customer, and then we will try our best to document the process to indicate what has been done before we bring that information back to council, so that if you had a question on one particular item, we can say, these are the activities that were done to collect it. At this point, it's not really worth that going back, but going forward, the policy and procedure will come to council for input, and then we will work with managers in every department to ensure that there's collaboration between the finance department and each other department to ensure that we're collecting it, the process is working well for us. Currently, we need to create 30, 60, 90-day reports and provide those managers. They haven't had a lot of good information in order to collect it. So going forward, we have to work together on that process, right? So thank you for the question.
And thanks again to our finance department for looking after these things. Appreciate that. Can I get someone to make the motion? Councillor Wilson-Lear.
I move that council authorize administration to expense uncollectible accounts of $54,325.50 to bad debt expense as presented.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you again so much. Moving on, we'll move on to the council committee reports. Can I get someone to make the motion to accept the council committee reports? Councillor Schramm.
Yeah, I move that council accept the February 3rd, 2026 council committee reports as set out in attachments 1 to 7 for information.
Any question, comments, or concerns, or anything that anyone would like to highlight from their committee reports? Seeing no one, can I get someone to make the motion? Sorry, we did make the motion. Pardon me. The motion was made. All those in favor? That motion is carried. We have no information items. We have no notices of motion. We have no closed meeting or in-camera session. No business arising from closed. So I will declare this meeting adjourned at 8:54. Thank you so much, everybody.